Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I think most of you, if not all, know who I am. My name is Kathy Dolby. Sorry about that. I wish I could give every one of you a group hug. But my arms sadly are not long enough to do that. But know that it's there. I know that we're all very shocked. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties with the microphone blinking out.
Told me that she did not want a gathering in honor of her passing. She did not want that. So, we wanted to respect her wishes, which means that today, we are gathering today not for a celebration of life. That's not the reason why we are here today. So then why are we here? We're here because Charmaine's family feels the connection with you as the deaf community, friends of Charmaine. So her family wants to honor you, all of you, Charmaine's deaf friends that are here today, and that's why we've gathered. Charmaine worked all her life tirelessly for you, for all of you in this room. And that's why we're here today, because Charmaine cared so much about you. Charmaine's family has gathered with us today. Some live nearby and most do not. Most are very far away from Edmonton. We have family members here from Chilliwack, BC, from Kimberley, BC, from Northern Alberta in Smith, very close to Slave Lake, also from Fort McMurray, and then from Southern Alberta, from Mossley, also Lethbridge, you'll also notice that we have a friend who is videographing our gathering today, John Warren. He's a fantastic videographer or videographer, and so we're hoping that we can encompass all of this into a YouTube, which will be shared with you at a later time, so that you can then watch it from its entirety. That will then be the celebration of life for Charmaine. Okay? Are we okay with that? I think she would like that plan.
So I would like to now ask if Charmaine's family could stand so that we can all see Charmaine's family.
Thank you to each of you for coming Cheryl would like to start us off then.
Hello, I'm Cheryl. I'm Charmaine's baby sister. I stand before you with a heavy heart, but also with pride, awe, and thankfulness. There was a 12-year age gap between Charmaine and me. She was away from school most of the time, and as a result of this, I really didn't get to know her until years later. I can't imagine how hard and heartbreaking it was for Mom and Dad to make the decision to send their little girl so far away to school that would have a specialty in learning for a young deaf girl. I must say that it was the best decision I believe they ever made. She found a place where she could learn, communicate, and feel safe. I wish our parents could have been with us longer to see how Charmaine flourished in life because of their decision. I'd like to share a few things about Charmaine and our family and myself personally, because we all knew her different ways. So she was quite bossy with some of us. Always trying to tell us what to do and sometimes how to do it. Sometimes we listened, but mostly not. The times that we didn't, we got her famous finger jab, which usually resulted in one of her loving bruises. She told me one time that she had come home from school in Montreal and Mom was pregnant again, this time with me. Charmaine told Mom, "That's enough, no more babies." My response to this was, well, they stopped at the best. Got the old finger poke and a big emphatic bullshit sign. We still have a good chuckle about that today. It must have been hard for Charmaine growing up in a hearing family. No one signed. Communication was written, or Charmaine would read lips. When I got older and moved to Edmonton, Charmaine sent my sister Yvonne and me off to sign language class so we could sign rather than write note. For the most part, we did pretty well. Okay, Yvonne did better than I. So many times I'd be signing away to Charmaine, and all of a sudden she would have this real puzzled look on her face. And so I would spell to tell her what I was trying to sign, and she would correct me, of course. Because I'm very famous for making my own signs up. Kept her on her toes. One of the proudest moments I shared with Charmaine when I went to a function with her, and she got up and signed the song I did at mine. Oops, sorry. A song so befitting to her. Man, I twirled my napkin like a wild lady, with pride in my heart, tears in my eyes, thinking, wow, I can't believe what I just witnessed. That's my sister. Another funny thing with Charmaine, she never neglected to tell us she was the smartest, the purest of all 8 of us. Yep, she was the cream of the crop. I always understood that Charmaine had 2 families, the one she was born into and who loved her, but more importantly, the one she lived within and lived for, you, the deaf community. You are a compassionate, caring community, and one that I know Charmaine was very proud of. I, along with my family, would like to thank you for helping our sister become the proud, strong woman well loved. I ask that all of you continue Charmaine's fight for the rights of the deaf community with the same determination and pride she fought with. Rest in peace, Charmaine. I hope everyone knows the sign language up there, and you always have somebody to boss around. Thank you.
My name is Adam Letourneau. I am Charmaine's nephew. My father, Lyle, is Charmaine's younger brother. I live in Lethbridge with my wife, Carmen, and 5 lovely young children. I'm a lawyer, and I manage a law firm in Lethbridge, and I'm a professor at the University of Lethbridge. I'm grateful to meet with you today, to get to know you better, and to understand and know the deaf community better. Charmaine was one of my favorite people. She was my aunt, but she always... Excuse me. She was also a really good friend and a mentor to me and to my family. She's one of my great heroes. She was also a great inspiration to me as a young person, and one of the reasons that I pursued post-secondary education so passionately. When she received the Order of Canada in relation to her work with and her advocacy for the deaf community, my heart burst with pride and happiness. Not just because of the great honor that she received, but because of the opportunity that this would have. That this would be to have deaf people everywhere seen, recognized, and heard more clearly. I've had various interactions with Charmaine over the years, and she always looked out for me, which I really appreciated. One of my favorite opportunities to work with Charmaine was on the Charmaine Letourneau Scholarship Fund, which I have done for a number of years now. The Charmaine Letourneau Fund was established at Edmonton Community Foundation in 2002 to support post-secondary education for deaf and hard-of-hearing Albertans. Each year, one student is selected to receive the Charmaine Letourneau Scholarship. Awards are based on financial needs, involvement in deaf organizations, leadership in school or community, and commitment to studies, as well as the likelihood that completion of the program will result in employment or further educational opportunities. Most of you probably know quite a bit about Charmaine through your interactions with her as an educator, an advocate, or a friend. She was really an amazing person, and she cared so deeply about her language, her teaching, her association with members of the deaf community, and about her advocacy for the rights of deaf and hard-of-hearing people everywhere. You can read more about Charmaine's accomplishments and her life by reading her obituary that my wife Carmen and I prepared. I'm sure many of you have already read it. It's posted on Facebook if you have not seen it. Charmaine and her good friend Kathy Dolby worked for a number of years to build up the initial funding for the Charmaine Letourneau Scholarship. Charmaine made quilts and artworks to raise money for that fund. They also asked family members and others to donate to the fund regularly. One of the things that they did was to collect bottles and cans on their many walks and to use those funds to build this scholarship up. To the very end, Charmaine would collect and keep her bottles and cans and ask Kathy to bring them in for cash and then contribute these funds to the scholarship fund. Over the years, the fund has increased, and it is an endowment fund. We are currently in a position to grant up to $10,000 each year in scholarships. It has been a great joy to meet with Charmaine and our scholarship committee each year to review the applications. I have enjoyed reading about the great things that deaf and hard-of-hearing students are doing, and to read about their hopes and their dreams, which are often so compelling and heartfelt. They have the potential to be great leaders in our community, and it is apparent in reading the applications that this scholarship can really help them to launch their careers and to be future people of influence. Charmaine always reminded our committee about how important it was for any any successful applicant for the scholarship to be involved in local deaf organizations She wanted to ensure that the deaf community would be further strengthened through the efforts of the recipients of the scholarship. This has happened on a number of occasions from what Charmaine has told me. This is very exciting and important. All of that said, there has been a decrease in the number of applications and in the number of applicants who meet the specific criteria of the scholarship in the last few years. This does not mean that there is not a need or that there are not good potential candidates. However, it is important that this message about the Charmaine Letourneau Scholarship be disseminated so that deaf and hard of hearing people who have aspirations know that financial help is available. If you have contributed to the scholarship fund, we thank you. Each little bit of contribution adds up, just like Charmaine's bottles. Please consider adding to the fund as best as you are able. The larger the fund, the more people we can help to reach their dreams and to perpetuate Charmaine's desire to empower deaf and hard of hearing people and strengthen the deaf community. I would ask you to share the message and information about this scholarship so that potential applicants are aware. If you know someone who needs help to complete an application, please help them to find that support. If someone you know is unsure whether they might qualify, encourage them to apply anyway. As the great Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for the association that you have had with my Auntie Charmaine and for carrying her important and significant torch to strengthen the deaf and hard of hearing community. Again, I am so pleased to meet with you today as we remember Charmaine as our friend, advocate, teacher, mentor, and hero. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carmen Letourneau. Charmaine Letourneau became my auntie in 1997 when I married Adam. She was very kind and friendly to me whenever I saw her. I always wished that I could speak with her in her own language. I was fascinated and delighted when I saw Charmaine sign with Kathy or her sisters. In 2017, I learned that Charmaine was teaching someone from Lethbridge on Skype, and I got excited. I emailed her, and she agreed to teach my daughter, Davida, who was homeschooled at the time. We started ASL lessons online. As you may already know, Charmaine was a master teacher. When Davida returned to public school the next year, Charmaine and I continued lessons on and off for 2 years. In 2019, I stopped lessons while I went back to university. But last spring, after her birthday, we started meeting again using FaceTime. At first, I was nervous about talking with her because I had forgotten almost all the signs she had taught me. I worried that she would be disappointed with me. I thought maybe she'll just speak English to me and not try to sign, since we weren't having formal lessons anymore. I learned something from Charmaine from that experience that I will never forget. I learned what a true teacher is. She didn't try to speak English to me, and she didn't ask me if I wanted to start lessons again. She just started signing to me and patiently helped me remember the things I had forgotten. She never judged me or seemed disappointed. I felt her love for me, and I felt her love for her language of ASL. She used to tell me, I love, love, love my language. She told me how it was such a beautiful language and so expressive. It's hard for me not to sign when I am telling her words. When she signed to me, I felt her heart communicating, not just the words. I loved how her bright blue eyes would light up and how easily she laughed. And sometimes when she talked about her feelings, her eyes would get wet. I came to understand that her language was only one part of a rich cultural heritage that she had been given as a member of the deaf community. Each of you who are part of the deaf community understand her passion and her love for that culture. That includes a rich language, art, poetry, and theater. I so appreciated that she would take the time to help me learn. Being a deaf person in a hearing family, Charmaine learned her language and culture from the age of 5 when she entered residential school for the deaf in Montreal. The deaf community became family to her. Because of the gift of language, community, belonging, and support that you gave her, she thrived. And she became a loyal and dedicated family member. As she grew, so did her passion to make the deaf community stronger. She wanted deaf and hearing people to know and understand that being deaf was not a disability, but a gift. She wanted deaf culture and language to be accessible to every deaf person, and for everyone to recognize its beauty and importance. That culture includes not only language, but values, traditions, and behaviors. She wanted every deaf person to have the opportunity to enjoy a fulfilling quality of life. She was a true advocate. I share her passion and love for her beautiful language of ASL, even though I am just a beginner. Thank you to each of you for your role in sharing your language and culture with Charmaine, with our family, and with the larger community. Even though Charmaine is no longer here, that language and culture is alive in you. When I imagined her going forward into the next life, I imagined her meeting her parents and grandparents, her sister Yvonne and brother Maurice, and her friends who have already passed on. My first thought was that now they would be able to communicate with no barriers. In the next life, I believe we are made whole. But my next thought was now they would all be able to speak together using sign language. Because I know that for Charmaine, signing was the best way to communicate. Recently, I asked Charmaine to share some ASL poetry with me. After our last meeting, the week before she passed away, Charmaine did email a poem to me. It isn't in ASL, it is in English. But it captures something about Charmaine's identity as a teacher and her love for learning. I am going to read it now. Teacher, from nothingness to abundance of knowledge. Teacher, you have taught us so much and so well. Teacher, you have given us the world. Now we know it is not a silent world, but a world full of words. You have led us to all this knowledge. You gave us the words to express our emotions. You gave us the words to form our ideas and use our words to write. From nothingness to abundance of knowledge. Teacher, you have taught us so much and so well. Teacher, you have given us the world. For this we thank you forever and ever. And now I want to share a few thoughts. Our world has lots of disagreements, war, people against people. Should I speak or just sign? Okay, I'll speak to you. In our world, people come together to try to solve problems. They talk and they talk. Often they don't listen, they don't see, and they don't understand each other. Today is special. Why? Because we come together For our love for Charmaine. I think I'll just sign it.
She never wanted
Honor.
this honor.
Talk about.
She didn't talk about her own successes. Success and fame were not important to Charmaine.
What was important was.
What was important was connection, friendship, family, and community. You are her community, and you are very special. You are important. And for all her life, she tried to work with you in advocacy. She always worked for other deaf people. She loved you. And I hope you will continue her important work.
It's okay, I'll probably just break it anyways. Good afternoon, I'm Lyle, and the proud brother of Charmaine. I want to thank you for being here and giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you all for coming. You all knew Charmaine as a teacher, mentor, confidant, associate, and an advocate and defender of the deaf. Charmaine and I, we were strangers in my younger years. She was always gone for school, only came home for summer holidays. But I gotta tell you, when she got home, she would try and take over my life by trying to boss me around and make me do the things the way she wanted. I'll have to tell you, I was as stubborn and as bullheaded as Charmaine. So as you can tell, it wasn't a very close relationship at that time. As I matured, because according to Charmaine, she was always the mature one, we became very close, not only brothers and sisters, but also friends. Now, Charmaine never looked at her being deaf as a disability. She told me once that she felt her deafness was a blessing. It all started for her when our mom and dad had the strength and the foresight to send their baby girl across the country to begin her education. Thank God they did. And Charmaine's passion for learning led her to become this amazing woman who accomplished so much for and with the deaf community. I was trying to come up with words that would describe my beautiful sister Charmaine. Loving, caring, talented, passionate, dedicated, and sometimes obsessed. And if Charmaine were standing in front of you here today, she would tell you that is all true. I am her brother. We are her biological family. But in my eyes, you, the deaf community, are her family. Charmaine touched each and every one of you, her brothers and sisters. I forgot where I'm at. Just as you all helped Charmaine become the great and wonderful person she is, I would ask you, Charmaine's family, the deaf community, to fight for everything you need and to never let Charmaine's legacy of fighting for a better life for all deaf people. Please continue to fight. You are worth it. I needed to personally speak to you all today to say thank you for being Charmaine's family. You meant the world to her, and she meant the world to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Darlene. I am the eldest of Charmaine's nieces and nephews. It is wonderful to see so many people in attendance. Friends, former students, family from near and far. I thank you all for being here today as we come together to honor, celebrate, and remember my dear aunt, Charmaine Letourneau. My auntie was a brilliant woman, full of grace and courage, mixed with a bit, okay, maybe a lot of the Letourneau stubborn streak that we have all been blessed or cursed with. Especially once we have our mind set on something, look out. Today, I would like to thank the deaf community for embracing and assisting in raising our beautiful Charmaine, whom at the tender age of 3 lost her hearing due to illness. Then at just 5 years old, was put on a train, sent away from the people she loved most, her town, her family, to attend a special school halfway across the country, only coming home for summer vacation. As a mother and a grandmother myself, just the thought of this makes me so uneasy and gives me the chills. Thank you to those who cared for Auntie, nurtured, loved, and supported her through the struggles that must have come through her youth. You helped her realize her hopes and dreams that enabled her to become a respected, determined, and impactful member of the deaf community, which she loves so very dearly. This special and unique world of silence and sign language, at a time and in a world full of prejudice, I can only imagine her struggles. You, her dear family, gave Auntie a sense of belonging, strength, love, and purpose. For that, the Letourneau family is very grateful. I would like to express my personal thanks, for through this community, we met a very special lady who was brought into our lives, Miss Kathy Dolby. Kathy, you started out 45-plus year friend of my dear Auntie Charmaine. And over time, you've become an honorary member of the Letourneau family. There are no words. to our thanks for you being that one in a million friend, not only to Auntie, but to all of us. You attended our weddings, funerals, family reunions, and any other special event where your interpreting was enjoyed and appreciated. You were the bridge between our family and Auntie Charmaine. Kathy, you've been an absolute gift to the Letourneaus, and we are forever grateful, and we love you. Story about your luck. You're stuck with us forever. My heart swelled with incredible pride, while my heart was full of regret and embarrassment. As it wasn't until Auntie's passing that I became aware of her many incredible achievements and accomplishments, and just how brilliant she really was. Auntie came a long way from being that terrified little deaf girl boarding that train, bound for God only knew where, let alone what the future had in store. Yet she came out the other side with several degrees. She became an educator, an author, a tireless advocate for the deaf community, to even receiving the Order of Canada, as well as many, many other accolades along the way. Charmaine is a true inspiration to us all. She showed that with hard work, educating ourselves, being of strong mind, even in a world full of adversity, if you surround yourself with like-minded people who love and support you, every opportunity can be realized, no matter how steep the climb or what obstacles may come in front of you. You can do great things, just like my dear, most humble aunt did over her lifetime. She was a true gem. She has left her imprint on this world that will be visible long after today. A truly amazing woman who, against all odds, became one of the most respected in the deaf community. I would like to give thanks to some special people today. The Letourneau family gives you much gratitude. Angie, I hope I'm saying this right, Strati, for helping organize today's gathering. We especially appreciate being able to host this event at ASD, where Auntie Charmaine worked tirelessly for so many years. She would have loved and been truly honored by this. Thank you to John Warren, all the way from Vancouver, for being our videographer. Many thanks as well to our wonderful interpreters, Carla Dupre and Tracy Hetman, for kindly volunteering. So appreciated, ladies. Also, thank you to Carla and all of her helpers for organizing and serving the refreshments. Well done, and a big thank you to you all from the Letourneau family. We are so very grateful for your help. You are all amazing. Lastly, to my dear sweet aunt, always when we lose a loved one, we wish for more time. And when it's sudden, we wish we could have said goodbye. But one thing we always did when we loved each other was say, I love you. So I know she knew I loved her. Another lesson from the teacher, never leaving anything unsaid. Auntie, I will miss your beautiful spirit, your never-ending smile that lit up your entire face, that twinkle in your eye when you were being cheeky, and the infectious belly laugh that followed. But what I will miss most is your incredible, one-of-a-kind hugs. You were the best. Rest in peace until our next hug. P.S. Please give my mom a big hug for me. All my love, Dar. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. There are light refreshments at the front. Please help yourself. And thank you.